The first thing to know about a notehead is that a notehead is not a circle. A notehead is really more of an oval shape. I'm going to write sort of an extra big notehead between the two staves here, just to give you a sense. It's not a circle, it's an oval. Not quite egg-shaped. But it's not an oval that goes straight up and down or straight side to side. It's an oval that sort of sits at a 45 or roughly 45 degree angle like that. So it's not a circle, it's an oval shape. Now the tricky thing is when we want to sort of condense that down to fit in between the lines of a staff. And there are two types of noteheads that we can write. We can write open noteheads, which are just the outline, or we can write closed noteheads or filled in noteheads, which are the outline of the notehead but filled in with ink or with pencil. When we write a notehead, and let's start with an open notehead, between staff lines, that's pretty easy. We're going to start up at the very top. Suppose I want to write a notehead in the fourth space. We'll start at the top of the fifth line, come down at an angle, hit the bottom on the fourth line, and then come back up like that. We always want to start at the top and hit the bottom. And so the upper and lower line are going to be our boundaries when we're writing a notehead in a space. And that's all there is to an open notehead. And I can write these open noteheads on any one of the spaces. Like this. Lines can be a little bit trickier. Writing noteheads on lines can be a little bit trickier because we don't have the upper and lower lines like we do on the spaces to guide us. So we have to imagine that there is an imaginary line sort of halfway between or halfway in the middle of the space to sort of be our upper and lower boundary. So for instance, suppose I wanted to write a notehead on the fourth line here. Well, I'm going to start right in the middle of that space. Going to go down to the middle of the third space and then come back up like this. And we're not going to actually write those two little boundaries that I just wrote. And that's how you do an open notehead on a line. And we can do that on any one of these lines here. The filled-in notehead is similar. In fact, we started exactly the same way. But the filled-in notehead is simply, it starts with an open notehead, and then we fill it in. Start with an open notehead, and then fill it in. What we want to avoid, and we do that in a line as well, and then fill it in. What we want to avoid is starting from the middle and then working our way out like this. You know, sometimes we can get lucky and that can produce a pretty decent notehead. But more often than not, the more consistent way to do it is to write the outline first and then fill it in.